Well, joining us for more is pharmacist Stephen Chibiojo. He's a clinical pharmacist, specialist drug quality control and drug production with the University of Abuja Teaching Hospital, Gwagwalada. He joins us from our Abuja studios. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you.
What's your take so far on the WHO Solidarity clinical trials for COVID-19?
The Solidarity Plus clinical trial, it's an unprecedented global intervention in the COVID pandemic. And from what they are doing, about 52 countries are involved, and we have over 600 hospitals across the world, and we also have thousands of clinical researchers. And with this, we have a lot of patients available for this clinical research. We have over 3 million patients available. So with this Solidarity Plus research, we do hope that they will be able to come out with good therapeutic approach that will be able to handle coronavirus. Because as we speak, we already have diagnostic procedures, we have robust diagnostic procedures, and we also have the vaccines being rolled out. But in adventure, in a case where we have a patient that comes down with this disease, how can we handle it? And that is a therapeutic approach. So with clinical trial that they are doing, which is the strongest evidence that we need in evidence-based medicine to take decision in drugs to be used in new diseases, this clinical trial, Solidarity Plus, is going to help us to be able to come out with definite drugs that will have impact on coronavirus.
Now, unfortunately, the WHO said, like remdesivir or hydroxychloroquine, that it had little or no effect on people admitted to hospital with COVID-19. Do you still agree with that, especially after some Nigerians said that they recovered on the back of those treatments, especially hydroxychloroquine?
That is true. There's something that is very interesting about science. In science, we deal with evidence-based. However, when we talk about the hydroxychloroquine, in vitro trial, we discovered that hydroxychloroquine has antiviral properties. However, with the current knowledge that we have, we discovered that the antiviral property that it has outside the body could not translate to significant clinical impact on patients. Clinical research has helped us to discover that some of the people who are claiming that hydroxychloroquine had helped them in the time past, they were taking cocktail of drugs. Some were taking vitamin D, zinc, vitamin C, high-dose vitamin C. Some were on natural immune boosters like ginger and the rest of them. So with that, we cannot say it was just hydroxychloroquine that healed them. The cocktail of drugs which helped to boost their immune profile was one of the things that helped them to recover. So it's definitely not just hydroxychloroquine. So with what we are doing now, the WHO is doing, the research and the R&D department is doing, it will help us to have evidence-based. For instance, we have about 3 million patients hospitalized across the globe who have been exposed to various kinds of drugs, the artesunate, infliximab, and imatinib. And at the end of the day, we'll be able to have good results, because in clinical research, what we are looking at is the size of the sample. Before now, we have had researches, about 3,000 research has been reported, published globally. But evidence has shown that the sample size was very small. So in science, we do sample size, but the larger your sample size, the better the result, because we are going to be extrapolating this result to a wider population. So with this, I'm very sure that we'll get a better result than the previous researches that were done.
And finally, Mr. Chibiojo, in just a few seconds, does this also point to how closely COVID-19 is similar to malaria, seeing as one of the new drugs as well going through the trials is artesunate?
Yes. Also, like I have always said, in medicine, we deal with evidence-based results. And most clinical researchers or clinical scientists what they look at is they treat based on symptoms. And I think that was what brought in artesunate, because COVID-19 has a lot of symptoms that are similar to that of malaria. And so they kept selecting various drugs and trying them. And from the few researches, out of the 3,000 clinical researches that have been published thus far, a lot have indicated that artesunate has good activities against coronavirus. Now it has been included in the Solidarity Plus, which is an unprecedented global clinical trial. At the end of this research, we'll be able to know for sure if it indeed has good activities against coronavirus compared with the other drugs that are being used currently, infliximab and imatinib.
We appreciate your time on the program. Thank you so much, clinical pharmacist Stephen Chibuyojo, specialist drug quality control with Gwagwalada Hospital. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you.
Still to come, almost 800 people test positive for COVID-19 in a sample size of over 5,000 tested in the last 24 hours in Kenya. Please stay with us.